Portland Culinary Podcast on Portland Culinary Radio. I'm Steven Shomler, your host. Super excited. Today is one of our special on-the-road episodes. We are here in Kauai, Hawaii, a beautiful, amazing, fantastic island, and I'm lucky enough to be here at Koloa Rum. Joining me, special guest, CEO and President Bob Gunter. Did I get that right? Gunter?
You've got it.
Well, good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for, or should I say mahalo? Is mahalo thank you?
Mahalo is thank you.
Okay, mahalo for having me here. Thank you so much. It's just amazing, and to get to be here and tour your distillery. I've seen lots of distilleries, lots of breweries. It's always fun to see another one. So that still we saw. How old was that still? That your older classic one?
Oh, the 1,200-gallon copper pot still, built in 1947 in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Used by a distillery in Kentucky for many years up until the early 2000s. And when we began designing our distillery, we put the word out we were looking for used equipment, and that came up as a possibility. We bought it, had it completely refurbished and sent over and put into use. Makes great rum.
And if I remember correctly, you opened September 2009.
We began bottling in September 2009, correct.
And you've been here from the very beginning. You're part of the founding team.
Yeah, exactly.
That must be so much fun to see a distillery grow from the ground up.
Very exciting, actually terrifying during parts of that in the very beginning, but it's turned out well, and we're very pleased. Thank you.
All right, standard questions we do on my podcast. Where were you born?
South Carolina.
Where?
In a small town called Estill, down in the very southeastern corner near Hilton Head Island.
Okay, and then where'd you go to high school?
Estill High School.
And what was the mascot?
The Gators.
The Gators?
Yes.
Do they have gators there in Esther?
They do.
Okay.
Large ones.
And since we're here in Hawaii, I often ask people, what brought you to Portland? How'd you get to Portland? But we're in Hawaii, so tell me about the first time you came to Hawaii.
First came to Hawaii back in the late 1960s. I was in the Army, came here on R&R, spent 10 days in Honolulu, had the opportunity to take one short day trip to a neighbor island. Somehow luck found me on Kauai, and I fell in love with the place and promised myself that at the first opportunity I would move, and eventually I did.
Okay, so you're R&R from Vietnam.
Yes.
Well, first, thank you so much for your service. I have huge respect for veterans.
Thank you.
Very, very grateful for your service.
Thank you.
So 10 days R&R in Hawaii.
Yes.
One of those 10 days was in Kauai.
One of those 10 days was here.
And
yes.
you fell in love.
Sure did.
And you vowed to move back here.
That's the story.
Is it true?
It's true.
That is a beautiful story. And then you moved here 1977?
That's correct.
And you had a job waiting for you? Everything was set and put together?
No, not exactly. I was living in San Francisco at the time, and then I began thinking, well, gee, San Francisco's beautiful, but I'd like to move on, and maybe now is the time to go back to Hawaii. So I bought a one-way ticket, packed up everything I had essentially in a backpack, and moved, and had no job, camped out for a few days, and eventually applied for a job at one of the local sugar plantations here. And for some unknown reason, they brought me in, and I got started and ended actually working with them for about 10 years in the sugar industry here on Kauai.
So you moved here. No job, just you're going to make life happen and make it work. Because
Yes.
you remembered that one day
Yes.
from 10 years earlier, or 9 years earlier.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes. I kind of had a sense that this was what I needed to do and what I should do, and that it would be all right and would work out. And it did.
And I assume that Kauai feels like home.
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
love that story. Okay, so you spent some time in what industries before you guys opened up Koloa Rum? What industries did you work in?
Well, as I mentioned, I worked 10 years in the sugar industry here on Kauai, and then in the electric utility industry also here on Kauai with a local electric utility. And then my family and I moved to Maui. I got involved with different projects over there, and eventually signed on with a joint venture group out of the mainland who wanted to build a micro distillery there in Maui to make rum. I worked with them for about 6 years, and we developed two micro distilleries, one to make rum, one to make vodka. That sort of really whet my appetite on the distilling business, and I thought, hey, now that I know how to do this, maybe I should go back to Kauai. And so I talked to some friends here and found that there was interest. And so we pooled our resources, and I came back to Kauai, and we started Koloa Rum.
That's fantastic. I love that. I've spent lots of time in distilleries, and it's always fun to hear, how they got started and what they're, this. I loved as a kid growing up. I loved comic books, and my favorite stories were the secret origins. How did Green Lantern become Green Lantern? So, I love those stories. How Koloa Rum came to be. So, where'd the name come from? Koloa Rum. Why that name?
Well, Koloa, with the line over the O, translates in Hawaiian to mean long cane, as in sugar cane. And then, of course, Koloa is a town and a district on Kauai. And the first successful sugar plantation started in the Hawaiian Islands was in Koloa Town with the same name, Koloa Mill. And that was back in 1835. And so the sugar industry in Hawaii really grew from that.
From that town, from Koloa, in Kauai.
Yes, and at one point back in the early 1900s, there were 150 operating sugar mills in the Hawaiian Islands, but the very first was in Koloa.
And since, okay, for those that don't know, we'll come back to that part of the story in the name in a second, but what is rum, for those that don't know?
Rum in the United States has to be made from a derivative of sugar cane, so that can be cane sugar, cane juice, molasses, or cane syrup.
So you can, wine is made from grapes, mead is made from honey, rum, at least in the United States, made from sugar.
Exactly.
Perfect. And it's so good. Rum is so good. So you tell me about the sugar you use here. Is it all Hawaiian grown sugar?
It's all Hawaiian cane sugar, so it's grown and processed here in the Hawaiian Islands. And Hawaiian cane sugar is known worldwide as being some of the best quality, best tasting sugar, and that's because of the growing conditions we have here, the rich volcanic soil, ample rainfall, sunshine. We've got all the right ingredients.
Yeah, I had a garden when I was a kid, and my girlfriend and I are going to put in a garden this spring. And, we're here partially on vacation, partly working. And she said, what'd it be like to have a garden here? And all I could think of, I'd be pulling a lot of weeds, I think.
Weeds do grow well here.
I believe it. Okay, so now tell me your theory on how long, about rum. How long sugarcane it's been here in Kauai.
Well, it's interesting. We know from history that when Captain James Cook first sailed into the Hawaiian island chain, which, by the way, he set landfall first on the island of Kauai here. But we know from their ship's logs that when they were scouting around the island, they found sugarcane growing plentifully in the Koloa district. So that tells us that sugarcane in Hawaii was a canoe plant. That is, it was brought by the ancient Polynesian voyagers on their waves of migrations that happened millennia ago, coming up from the South Pacific islands, the Marquesas, Tahiti, and so forth. So my theory is, of course I have no way of proving this, but I believe that it's a good chance that sugarcane in Hawaii predates the introduction of sugarcane in the Caribbean islands.
And how fitting then that you make rum now right here in Hawaii, in Kauai.
Yes.
I think that's awesome. All right, so one of the things that's really cool is that people don't realize there's studies that show if you, my friend Sam Holloway is a professor at University of Portland, and he has studies that show if you open a brewery in a town, the craft beer scene is exploding in China. It actually contributes to the local economy tremendously. Towns that didn't have roads now have roads. And you guys contribute to the local economy right here.
Oh, absolutely, and in many ways. In the beginning, of course, we hoped at some point to make really good rum and maybe make some money at the end of the day, but we also wanted to support our sugar industry here locally on the island. We wanted to support and nurture our agricultural industry here and to provide jobs for our local people. And help diversify our economy. And we believe that if we were successful that we could do that. And actually we're very proud. We now have 33 employees, and those were jobs that did not exist 10 years ago. And so our payroll, the payroll taxes, the goods and services that we buy from local vendors and suppliers, all helps to support our local Kauai economy.
I love it. That's fantastic. I just love how people don't realize how, be it the food industry or the spirits, how they contribute financially and make such a huge difference to a local economy. Okay, so speaking of growth, where roughly is Koloa Rum distributed now?
We've been very fortunate. People have responded well to our products. And we're now distributed and sold in 25 states across the mainland. Of course, up and down the West Coast, including Oregon. We ship products nearly on a weekly basis to Oregon, so we have fans there. And we're also.
And since you mention it, if someone listens to the podcast and they want to get Koloa Rum, we're going to talk in a minute. Nikki's going to jump on the podcast. We're going to talk about 7 different rums you make. We'll try 4 of them, which I'm really looking forward to. But if someone says, "Hey, I want to get that coffee one," they can just go to the Oregon liquor store, walk in, and they'll order it and bring it right in for them. That's the Oregon system. Some people find it challenging, but one of the beauties of it, if you ask for it, they order it in for you.
That's exactly right. And as I mentioned, we ship orders nearly weekly to Oregon, so it's easy.
Well, next time you come to Oregon, I'll have to take you to one of my favorite dive bars. We'll do some kind of rum dive bar event. I think that would be fun.
We'll do that.
Yeah, and have you ever your barrels? You ever done like a collaboration with a brewery and put your barrels in? Give your barrels to a brewery to make a rum aged beer.
No, we do have an aged rum now. We're using the barrels though a second time.
Yep.
And we're evaluating that to see how many different cycles of aging we can do in a barrel. But we've been approached by local breweries wanting to use our barrels, and at some point, I'm sure we will do that. Exactly that collaboration.
No, that's a phenomenal. I've had rum barrel aged beer, and it is a phenomenal thing. So that is fantastic. Okay, so what's your favorite rum?
I like our white rum. It's pure rum, just rum and water. There's no added ingredients to it, and it's very smooth, very clean, very mixable, but I prefer to drink it neat or straight. I tell people 2 fingers and an ice cube, and I'm set.
I love that. Okay, so we are here. I got the privilege of touring your distillery. We walked around. Wonderful, wonderful place you have here. And then you have a tasting room. People can't visit. The distillery is not open. Don't even try and come. But you have a tasting room down the road. But you have something really exciting happening end of 2019 or beginning of 2020.
Yes, we have. We've acquired the use of 18 acres of land just on the outskirts of Koloa town. Our distillery now is in Kauai, approximately 4 miles from Koloa, but we're moving into town. We're building a brand new distillery, warehousing. We'll have a new tasting room and company store. We're also planning to have a cafe where people can have a light lunch and a cocktail. And
Amen to that.
And we'll have a small museum on site that will be in the form of an old Koloa plantation camp house that we are fixing up to serve as a museum that will memorialize the history of sugar, Koloa Mill, of course, but also the history of sugar in Hawaii. So there'll be an educational component to that as well. So for the first time, we'll be all located in a consolidated footprint. We'll have our tasting room and store there, and we'll have room to grow for the next 20 to 25 years.
That sounds fantastic. Now, my girlfriend, Diana Prince, she loves Kauai. She's the one that brought me here, which I came quite happily. And so maybe I'll have to come back in a couple years when you get that facility open. My son, Zach, turns 21 on Friday, and he's really good with filming. So maybe when we come back, we can do another podcast and maybe some filming at the facility. That might be a lot of fun.
You have the invitation.
I love it. Well, Bob, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. I love what you do. A little background how I got here. We're going to go take a trip to Kauai, and my girlfriend graciously says, "You should do some podcasts while you're there." And I'm like, quietly, like, I'm so excited she said that. I'm like, "Are you sure? Really? Is that okay? We're on vacation." She says, "No, that'd be great." And I'm like, "Fantastic." So I start researching, what sounded appeal to me. I found your stuff, and I said, "Hey, what about Koloa Rum?" And her eyes lit up. She says, "Oh, I've been there many times. I love it. It's fantastic. We have to go there and buy bottles, and we're going to do that anyways." And I get to see the place? Yes, you get to see the place. So really good synergy for me. And while you've been talking, I've been sipping the rums, and they're just fantastic. So congratulations. Good companies, good organizations don't have good leadership, and my gut tells me you're one of the positive driving forces. And it takes a good team, but you're one of the driving forces that has helped make the rum magic happen here. And hats off to you. Congratulations for that. Startups are tough, and you've started it, you've grown it. It's an amazing thing you're putting together.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We try hard, and you're right. We have a great team.
Excellent. All right. Well, Nikki, are you ready to join us? Yeah. They're going to switch seats. Since it's on the road episode, I can only fit in the equipment that could fit in my luggage, so only one mic today. All right. Well, good morning, Nikki. Very excited to have you join us. So you've been with Koloa Rum for 6 years. You're part of the team helping make the rum magic happen here. So I always standard stuff on the podcast. So where were you born?
Good morning. I was born in Guam, actually.
In Guam. Oh, we have a really cool food cart, PDX 671. They're Guamanian food. They're a chapter in my first book. Love those guys.
Fantastic.
But I suspect you didn't grow up in Guam. Is that correct?
I did not, no. My dad was in the service, so we traveled quite a bit, and we landed in Ohio, where I grew up.
Grew up, okay. And where'd you go to high school?
I went to R.B. Chamberlain in Twinsburg, Ohio.
And what was the mascot there?
We were the Tigers.
The Tigers. Oh, I like that. Okay, so where did your rum journey begin?
Well, I've always been drawn to kind of the, I would call it the island lifestyle, and my dad used to have parties, and he would make large, just glass kind of vats of cherries, right? Soaked in Puerto Rican rum. So I, as a mischievous little, I'll say teenager, would often dip into the cherries. And so when I was caught, I said I was just having cherries. So
That's fantastic. I love that. Oh, he's very
he didn't buy it.
Yeah, he didn't buy it. He knew. It's like, okay. But hey, rum soaked cherries, that sounds amazing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have Diana make me some of those. We had some, what did we do? We did some cranberries. I macerated some cranberries for cranberry martini. We'll have to talk her into doing some cherries and rum. That'd be good.
Oh, yeah, cherries are great. And here in Hawaii, we often do pineapple.
Oh, I like that.
Which is...
So maybe we could do like cherries and pineapple and one other thing and then just make a cocktail fruit salad.
Definitely.
All right, so let's talk through these 7 amazing rums you have. So the Kauai White, tell me about that one.
Okay, the Kauai White is fantastic. As Bob mentioned, it is his favorite. It is just a pure product, and it's actually the base of all of our products here at Koloa Rum. So it's just strictly Hawaiian sugarcane, rainwater from Mount Waialeale, and yeast, double distilled, small single batches, clean and pristine. No flavors added.
So if I buy this and take it home, what are some of the things I can do with this one?
Well, you could be the purist, as Bob mentioned, and do the 2 fingers with an ice cube, or we can go in the direction of some fun cocktails like the classic mojitos, mai tais, rum punches. Pretty much universal because it's just going to absorb whatever you're mixing with.
I love me a good rum punch.
Right, yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah, and mai tais. I had a really good mai tai. I don't know if it was Koloa Rum, but
Right.
At Big Wave Dave's.
Big Wave
yes,
Dave's, gotta
yeah.
love it. Probably not Koloa Rum.
Probably not, but it was a good mai tai.
But yeah,
There would have been only one way to make that a better mai tai.
exactly.
Yep.
So I'll have to be talking to Dave about that.
That's right. Yeah, and I'll tell Barbara. I'm going to go back, I think, and I'll tell Barbara, hey, I went to Koloa Rum. You got to get some of that.
Exactly.
Because you want the regular one or you want the special. So, okay, so then the Kauai Gold.
Kauai Gold, a great unique flavor, little touch of that caramelized cane sugar in there. Actually won Best Rum and Coke in Miami, Florida at the Rum Renaissance Festival. So if you are that classic rum and Coke, standard cocktail drinker, then that is going to be the one for you. Also, the white and the gold are known for those mai tais.
Perfect. Oh, yes, you put the gold in the mai tai, not the white. Excuse me.
Well, you can put both.
Okay, do you have a preference for a mai tai?
My combination is kind of the gold in the dark, but mai tais actually have 2 to 3 rums. So you could go white and gold and dark. You could go gold coconut and dark. There's many varieties.
Okay, good. The Kauai Spice.
Kauai Spice. That's my personal favorite. It's an 88 proof spiced rum. I personally am not a big fan of spiced rum, so I kind of, steered away from even trying it. But once I did, it is my go-to Koloa rum, and I actually enjoy it just neat, straight up in a glass. No ice cubes, no chill, just a small sip here and there.
So you drink this like I drink. I'll have my whiskey neat, no ice, nothing. That's how you drink the Kauai Spice.
That is how I drink it. But I will say, if you're looking for a fun way to use the Kauai Spice, I call it the adult root beer float. It's fantastic.
So this and some root beer and
Kauai Spice, some root beer, a little scoop of ice cream, and yeah.
Oh, my sister Jackie likes ice cream cocktails. I might have to get that for her.
That's a winner, It's a little bit too good, so.
All right, so we're going to taste through the remaining 4, which I'm super excited about. And we're starting with the Kauai Dark, right?
Okay, Kauai Dark. Dark rums tend to have a kind of a history of being strong, a little bit of that bite back, strong molasses flavor, where the Koloa Kauai Dark is very light in body, a touch of that vanilla that we add, and a nice dry almost cocoa-like finish. So it's really well-rounded. It really presents in a different style for a dark rum. Great float for a Mai Tai. Great for that go-to dark and stormy.
Oh, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Very smooth, and like it doesn't have that bite.
No, it doesn't. So it surprises a lot of people, and that's at 80 proof as well. So we do make some strong rums here, but they don't have that kick. So you just enjoy that pure flavor.
Well, a friend of mine, Conrad, is a brewer at Culmination, and a lot of IPAs have bitter.
Right.
And when it comes to him, when an IPA, his standard line is bitter is a juvenile flavor, and we can do better.
Well, I'm an IPA lover, so I enjoy the fact that that's where they derive from, and then he's improving it.
Yeah, and so the same thing. You can make. I've had lots of this, spirits where it's just bitter or it's just harsh.
Right.
And you're drinking paint thinner, and you guys have nailed the flavor profiles.
Exactly. We want to deliver a premium product, and we've done so far. So we're really excited about
All right.
Koloa Rum.
So this one, I'm probably the one I don't know. These last three are blowing my mind, but I don't know which of the three I'm going to be most excited about. But Kauai Reserve Barrel Select 3-year barrel-aged rum. What the heck?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, super excited about this. We've done so well and been so well received in the spirit industry for our initial rums, which are unaged. So to produce our first aged rum, great reception. Barrels are coming from Kentucky. They're bourbon barrels. So minimum of 3 years aged in there, which delivers this rich kind of bourbon-esque whiskey vibe. You've got the oak, the vanilla, the smokiness, and then bam, 92 proof. Sip it neat, mix it in a few cocktails. We didn't think to mix it, but we tried it, and it actually presented and held up amazingly well. But again, we're pretty good on sipping it straight here.
Yeah, in the craft beer community, there are craft beer nerds. Or geeks, as I would say, and some of them are wonderful people, but they can be very picky about craft beer,
Right.
and some of their pickiness is well good, and some of it, come on, let them have fun with it. That's all right.
Right.
And the same thing's true in spirits. And I know some spirit geeks sometimes they maybe want to turn their nose up at rum, and I would encourage them to try this right here, straight and neat.
I would definitely encourage that. This brings so many different, kind of pulls from different spirits. Like I said, the bourbon barrel lends to that bourbon flavor. So those that I only drink bourbon or scotch or whiskey, give it a try. You're going to be, boldly surprised.
Yeah, and it looks like a fantastic bourbon. I mean, the bottle and the label, it looks like a great bourbon. So yeah, if you're listening to this podcast and you've got someone that loves a whiskey or bourbon, and you love rum and you want to get them this, I think they will be delighted.
It's very unique.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so coconut. I am so excited to try this. Talk to me about your coconut rum.
Ooh, the coconut rum. Well, it took us 2 years to formulate getting all natural coconut rum. The standard is when people think about coconut rum, they think about Malibu, which is been the industry norm just because they use coconut liqueur in there, a little bit of actually quite lower proof than ours. So we wanted to raise the bar. We wanted to make a sort of what we call it adult coconut rum, right? 80 proof, all natural. I mean, when you taste it, it's pretty much just tasting vacation in a bottle. I mean, fantastic as is. Again, I mentioned ginger beer for the dark rum, also fantastic with the coconut. There's just endless possibilities. You can make the pina coladas. It's just really, really pure, and you have that 80 proof. So for those that order double Malibu, if you order a double Koloa, you might really get an extra punch.
So coconut is one of those flavors that I absolutely love, and so often it's done poorly, in spirits
Exactly.
or food. You guys this is all coconut. The smell is incredible. The aroma.
It's yeah.
And this and it's a coconut spirit. That's incredible.
Natural coconut compounds. Like I said, we worked really hard on it because we wanted to perfect it. We wanted to deliver something that was natural and that was unique to the coconut market. So we achieved, and man, it's a winner.
So I make a cocktail with tequila and pineapple juice. Call it a pineapple painkiller. I could have this with a little bit of pineapple juice.
Oh, sure.
And that would be phenomenal. I mean, but I'm kind of like, my head is just spinning not because I had so much rum, but because I can think of, I would just want to make like a whole book of just different cocktails with this coconut rum. But really, I think I would probably just like it straight.
It's so great straight. One time I was at a party and one of my friends was drinking just a clear, liquid in a glass. And I said, "Oh, what are you having?" He's like, "Coconut rum." I said, "And?" He goes, "No, just coconut rum." So, of course, it was Koloa coconut rum, and that was great. But I found I mix it with just a little squeeze of lime juice, or when you mentioned the pineapple juice,
Yep.
try mixing some basil and some mint, and that is fantastic. I haven't come up with a name for it,
Okay,
but
so basil and mint, coconut rum, and just that, or add?
pineapple juice, basil, mint, and the Koloa coconut,
Wow.
right?
That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal.
It's so great to just dig into the garden, get those fresh herbs out, because Koloa rum is so pure that it'll just kind of blend so nicely with, and everybody's looking for that fresh organic cocktail, right? Craft cocktails or a craft spirit, you got to take it to that level.
Okay, so Blue Star Donuts in Portland makes one of my favorite donuts. They do, for lack of a better term, craft donuts, artisanal donuts.
Ooh, I love it.
And they do a blueberry bourbon basil donut that is incredible.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna bug Jessa when I come home that she needs to make a Koloa coconut
Oh, definitely.
blueberry basil donut. That would be phenomenal because they have donuts where they have the little thing where you squeeze it and you get the alcohol comes out into your donut.
I
They could
saw those. Well, I saw them in New Zealand, actually, so maybe I can go a little closer to home and go to Portland.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that would be coconut. Okay, say it again because I'm just a little bit of.
Just coconut, pineapple juice, basil, and mint.
Okay, we're gonna have to come up with a cool name for that cocktail. That is phenomenal.
Definitely. I mean, muddle anything. Get those blueberries out, those cucumbers, and start muddling away. Some lavender. Be so awesome.
I did a blueberry cocktail just the other night.
Right?
Muddled some blueberry, and it was phenomenal. Okay,
Yeah.
Koloa Hawaiian Kauai coffee, Hawaiian rum with coffee.
Right. That is a great symbol of two local companies coming together here to showcase Kauai, what we have best, coffee and sugar, right? So Kauai Coffee happens to be the largest U.S. coffee plantation. It's about a mile down the road here. We cold brew a special blend of coffee beans that they have designated for us for this particular rum. And what you get is a rum, not a liqueur, so it's 68 proof. And that's something I call the morning, noon, or night,
Well,
you need to pick me up. That's your go-to.
Until recently, I'm like, well, I only have gin before noon. That's just my, gin and grapefruit juice. I stick to that. But I just did a podcast episode with a Rolling River Distillery in Portland, and they make a coffee. It's like a coffee vodka, but it's just coffee spirit, and it's incredible. I could have that for breakfast. Eastside Distilling in Portland, they make a coffee rum, and then your coffee rum. It smells like coffee.
Isn't it? It's fantastic. It tastes like coffee as well.
Oh
I would say add ice and you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. I could just someone wants an iced coffee, I'll just give them this and some ice and see what happens.
Right. It also works really well in the kitchen. When dessert time rolls around, you order that avocado, get a shot of coffee rum on the side, Koloa coffee, just throw that on top. That's an excellent dessert
Okay,
too.
so take a cup of coffee, add a scoop of ice cream, dump in the Koloa rum, and serve it.
You could do that as well. Yeah. Yeah. Possibilities are endless.
So I think you need to come up with a rum cocktail cookbook for people to do with all your different stuff. I think.
know. Honestly, the chefs just love Koloa rum in their kitchens because of the purity of it. Not that harsh alcohol flavor, doesn't burn off. It just is present still. So we've done a lot of Koloa rum dinners around town and on the outer islands, where we pair with a chef. They make 4-course meals. We pair it with a cocktail. The rum is also used in the food. Fun night.
Yeah, I wanna somehow make something with this Hawaiian coffee rum and a meat that I think that would be phenomenal. Just a little bit of marinade in that somehow, and
Definitely.
then throw it on the grill.
Put that in your barbecue sauce you were talking about,
Oh yeah.
I'm seeing some ribs there.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. My friend Tina owns Saucy Minx Barbecue. She's
Right.
growing her brand very well, and she partnered with a local distiller in Oregon to make a habanero. She used their habanero rum to make a habanero barbecue sauce. She could take this Kauai coffee, partner with you guys, and do a coffee rum barbecue sauce for
Right.
ribs.
I like it.
Oh
Good
my
idea.
gosh, that would be incredible. Okay. Well, when Tina calls you,
Hey,
you'll
Tina.
know why. Well, thank you so much for having the Portland Culinary Podcast here. I'm really excited about we're headed off to the tasting room. We're going to take pictures and try a bunch more rum and buy a bunch of rum, which I encourage everyone to, when they come to Kauai, to do it. If you're in Portland and you really you're captivated by the idea of the 12-barrel select, the Kauai Reserve, or maybe the coconut, just go into the store, Oregon Liquor Store, and just have them order it in for you. You can have it and enjoy it. I don't know which one is my favorite. I probably have my favorite is the last three we tried: the barrel aged, the coffee, and the coconut. Because the coconut was just phenomenal.
Really, it does stand out. So we're really excited to have you guys out. Aloha to all of our fans over in Oregon. We have lots of people from Oregon that fill our tasting room. So love to see them every time. Welcome them back, and I know you guys are going to have a great time at the tasting room today.
Yeah, and if you ever want to come to Portland and do an event, I would be honored to host a Koloa Rum cocktail event. That would be so much fun.
Fantastic.
All right, well, thank you again, Nikki. You did a great job. Nikki Munroe, Koloa Rum. Cheers,
okay,
everyone.
Guys, aloha.